Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Be the Media Huntington. Tonight is, shoot, it's Wednesday. Okay, good, thank God.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome
Here
to
we
Be the
go.
Media Huntington. Tonight is,
Starting off with a bang.
You know what? I think I figured out what happens when I have the other channels on. Oh my God, I just saved myself from my own embarrassment. This is perfect. But that's okay. Anyways, tonight is February 27th. It's Wednesday, and tonight I have with me Miss Dana
Hi, guys.
and Miss Lisa.
Hi, everyone.
And I'm Jenny Lee, and expect me to screw something up every week because that's our tradition. So this week went by so fast from last week's show that we weren't really going to do, but we just got the kids back in school until this week's show. It's been one of those weeks where you're like, wait, that only happened just a couple of days ago. But the most recent thing that did happen that caused a lot of just chaos and such a sad event, we had a train crash in Westbury. And I believe that was the fault of another vehicle, correct? That was a driver who got on the track. So far, there was 3 people that were killed, including the operator of the train, the conductor.
Really? I thought it was the people in the car.
That's
The
what I thought.
the car tried to beat the train. I heard it was the people in the car who died. No, I didn't hear about the train conductor.
That's what I heard too. Not that that's better, but
I have the wrong article up. I have the article how they're raising the costs, and that's a whole new ball of wax there. Jeez.
Why would you try to beat a train though? What were you thinking?
well, rumors say that car he was trying to flee another crash that they may have been involved with or caused, and he was fleeing that, tried to get around the gates, and he met the train.
Wow.
Yeah, people are so busy.
I mean, but if I'm in the car with you, I'll be like, "Hey, brother, what's going on? We're not doing that." I guess.
That's so crazy. It's
Not everybody.
Especially when I was driving when I used to drive tractor trailers, it was my biggest fear going over the train tracks, especially if I was having, one of my trailers were really low, because it had happened before where, your trailer could, depending upon what you were hauling, your trailer could get stuck on those tracks and you could get stuck. Oh, one of my biggest fears.
Oh, I wouldn't like that at all.
A lot of people had to find an alternate route to work, and we don't know if it's going to be the same tomorrow. So the good advice I was able to find when I was poking around, that if you are normally get on your train in Huntington, you should drive to the Mineola train, and it's only $6 to park all day. So that's really not bad, actually. And but that's an alternative plan for you until the tracks are fixed, because it's a mess and the trains just aren't running out here right now.
Wow. That's crazy.
We both said, "Wow."
I know. Think about that for a second. Like, the trains are not running. It's
wow. And a lot of people depend on that. Nobody really wants to drive, their car. That's why they take the train.
Okay, I finally found it. I'm just having one of those nights, I guess, where I have a photograph to show you. Boom. You can see that, right?
Yeah, I was looking at that before. It's such a mess.
Why does it want to keep going there for me? Don't do that. Just wanted to show you the picture, and it wants to go into a video. A video that, there we go. So you can see where it's right through the platform.
Yeah.
Imagine what that car looked like.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, this is when it came off the tracks and went into the platform. I don't see anything of the car here at all. So that's going to be a whole new scene that I bet you they just can't even show that to us.
Yeah.
If I could just say, back in 1996 in Huntington, a good friend of mine from Huntington, His name was Charlie Geiger, and he was driving his little Corvette Stingray, and it was a classic in itself.
Hey.
And he was out one night over on Wellwood. I think it was Wellwood. It was Lindenhurst. Anyway, long story short, he tried to get her on the tracks. He was in a rush. He did something fatally stupid. The train met him and dragged his car a mile down the tracks along with him.
Oh,
You can't do that. Stop when those gates go down. You need to stop. Don't be stupid. It's not worth it. Like texting and driving, it's not worth it. Those gates are going down for a reason, because a bullet is coming down those tracks and you're not going to win. Yeah. You know, it took a long time for them to pick up all his pieces that they found down a mile of the tracks, along with the parts of his car. You're just not going to win. I wanted to say that because you needed to know. It's horrible.
I'll pass.
I think about him often when I see the gates coming down or hear about someone doing something like this. Anyway, yeah, I was thinking about him today after this.
Yeah, because that just happened yesterday.
That's sensitive.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but speaking of train wrecks, the Republican Party has picked their candidates for all positions that will be running in the election coming up in November. And let's show them to you and read the list to you. So, the Huntington Republican Committee is proud to have nominated for our 2019 slate of candidates John Kennedy for Suffolk. I don't see him there.
No.
County Executive Robert Trotta for County Legislator, number 13. Well, Rob Trotta, I thought was going to run for County Executive.
He's not in the picture either.
Yeah.
Hector
County for Suffolk County. So there's Hector. We all know who Hector is. Right. Garrett Chelius for County Legislator. I'm going to guess that's this person. There's no tag or anything, so he doesn't have a page yet. Cheryl Helfer for District Court Judge by process of elimination. This would be her. For court. Andrew Rea for Town Clerk. So funny. See what he looks like right here? That's Andrew. This is not Andrew. This is Andrew. This is Andrew's mommy, Joanna Rea. She's not running for office. Okay, we'll get back to that. Gene Cook, we know who he is. So clearly the Republicans have gotten over their issues with Gene, or they just had no one else that was going to run. And Andre Sorrentino. So this is who they're running for the town board and all the other positions. And Andy looks just like his mother. The family resemblance is uncanny.
Okay.
You got nothing? You got nothing? What did Andy Rea do when he was an assemblyman for us?
I don't know.
Nothing that stands out, right?
Not that I could think of.
I have no idea.
Maybe that's a typo.
No, it's not a typo. No, it's not a typo.
Didn't he just run for something when he just got reelected? So
he's not even qualified for the job, though. The only reason they're running him for the job, I mean, think about this for a second. I'm this crazed over this. You don't get to will your government position to your children. And your children shouldn't feel entitled to, well, now I'm going to take over my mother's seat now that she's going to be termed out.
There are no term limits for the...
Yes, there is. They just passed them. Yes, there is.
I thought the clerk was eliminated.
Not except
because she doesn't make any laws.
Nope. That's what they kept repeating why they wouldn't put it through. But the minute they got Chad and Ed and they had Gene in, They pushed it through. That was it. They did term limits. That was the first thing the New Direction did. In fact, it was the very first thing they voted for was for term limits, and it is inclusive of the town clerk. Don't you remember she said, I'm going to give you when Mark, she was so mad at Mark. Remember Mark laughing? We covered this on our show. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was at the board meeting.
Laughing at Joanne.
I remember that, but I thought the tax receiver and the county clerk was, the town clerk was eliminated because they don't make any rules.
No, that, you know what? I understand why that confusion is there, because we put up term limits 3 times.
Right.
The first 2 times it got voted down because of Joanne Rea. They brought out every town clerk in every county of New York. She's the longest serving. Our job is so important. And they were unable to get this accomplished. Joanne Rea was the hook to make sure they didn't get term limits. And these guys came in and they were like, yes, sorry. And Mark was a Democrat and he still voted for it to them. And then he laughed about it too. It's somewhere on our library of all these discussions we've been having for 2 years now.
Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Oh, he's so funny. He speaks Spanish too very well.
Oh yeah, that accent. Oh, pitiful.
I mean, I don't know anybody who wants to run and be a county clerk. I mean, a town clerk. It's a lot of work. I'm sorry. I mean, I would rather give it to someone who really wants the job. I hate to say that, but I wouldn't want to give that job to my son just because.
Nobody wants to get into government. Nobody wants these jobs at all. You do it because you get tired and you feel called to the position.
I could get that, but the town clerk, I mean, that's just so much unnecessary work. It's too much. I would never want to be like, oh yeah, go run. No, I will run away from it, not run to it.
I would.
Well, Andy Rea has no shit in business to be in that position. The position should have gone to the clerk right under Joanne, Luann. Luann is amazing. I'm very upset that she's not being picked. She was perfect for the position.
But what is her party affiliation?
I don't even care what her party affiliation is. She's the most, I would assume that she's the same party as Joanne because she's worked for her forever. So I would think that Joanne is filling her department with like-minded people. I don't know. But I got to tell you, I don't even care what party she is. She's the most qualified because she's been running everything underneath Joanne for the longest time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that she's a Democrat. They haven't announced who they're running, so she may be on their ticket for the town clerk.
I doubt it, but let's hope so. Because she's really the perfect person for the position.
I mean, it would be very difficult to see Andrew Rea as a town clerk. I'm going to be very honest with you. It's nepotism. Now here's my okay. So I'm trying to stay very neutral in this whole process of candidates and everything else. But to see Cook on the Republican line after he swore the Republicans were so bad because what they did to Jennifer Thompson, and I have daughters, and I know how women should be, and then you hop right back on the same line. Did you lose that energy that you had before? What changed? I'm having a hard time in general understanding exactly what his position is. We all know, us three know what happened recently to one of a good friends of ours. So ever since then, his whole aura has changed, at least for me. I'm having a hard time believing what his agenda is because I don't know what it is. Say what you're going to do, stand on what you're going to say, and then that's it. Don't flip-flop, because if you tell me I'm not going to do A, B, and C, and then you turn around and do A, B, and C, to me, you're doing the same thing that the Republican Party did when you claimed they were being so unfair. So now it's okay? It's okay now? I'm a little taken back. I was surprised at Andre Sammartino, but I like Andre. So
Andre has done a great job. The only streets that I'm happy with right now are the ones that Andre's touched. The parking lots, like there's stuff that he's actually done as in leading departments. So I'm pretty happy with him as a pick. I don't know what's going on either, Dana. I know I've heard a lot of people that are upset because, he said he'd only do 2 terms and then he'd be out. Of course, that was before they voted for the 3rd term. So I think anybody in their right mind would say, yeah, let me take that 3rd term, whatever, because then I know I'm definitely out. But I have to agree, there was this huge rift in the Republican Party. I'm shocked he's courting them. I'm shocked they're courting him. Mm-hmm. But that makes you, I think, that brings awareness to the fact that there's not a lot of people on the field that are signing up to run for these positions, or at least in the traditional way.
That's where we have to differ, because I know personally quite a number of people that wanted to run, and some of them are minorities on the Republican ticket and didn't even get a call back. So let's be clear with this Republican Party, right? They pick and choose who they want. You can't be a strong female because Tony Teep is not having it.
But so do the Democrats. And the thing is Tony Teep does that in certain cases in conjunction with the Democrats, so that they're already playing their chess game in the background as to who's getting what seat.
The Democrats, I don't really know how they play, right? But the Republicans, because I'm a Republican, I get to know certain things. Now, for me, I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent. If you're going to be honest, you should screen everyone. Everyone who's qualified should screen. Right then and there, when you start eliminating people, especially minorities, and you have none. This is the second ticket that we saw. It's just all white. That's it, right? So you already had that issue. So now you're just amplifying the persona that the Republican Party has.
Yeah, but he's gay. That's diversified.
I'm died. I just died. I somebody give me life support, please. Somebody come give me life support right now, because Lisa, get your friend. Jenny's crazy. I'm not talking to her for the rest of the night. She's crazy.
And at this point, Andrew Rea is wearing his mother's dress. So we now also have a cross-dresser. That's diversity, right?
Wait, you saw that?
There's a dress. She's wearing a dress, and it says that it's Andrew Rea.
Oh.
So we have a cross-dresser. That's diversity, right?
I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Are any of them special ed?
I'm just going to leave that one alone.
I'm trying to check off the boxes over here, okay?
I'm not getting into that because I'll get a whole heap of trouble. So.
But you do have a good point that the Democrats have not put forth their people yet. We haven't seen if there's any dissension in the ranks with the Working Families Party. We're not sure what's going on with the Independence Party. So we're still very early. There's a lot of things that can happen this early in this early.
Let me say this, even if an individual is trying to switch to the independent line in Huntington, it's a hard thing. It's not as easy as one would think it would be.
Yeah, but you don't need that many signatures on the independent line, and that's what makes it so juicy and ripe for a primary. Oh, cat out of bag.
Yeah.
Get back in that bag.
Yes, get it back. Go back inside. Go back inside. Let's talk
Please go get your cat. Oh, you're not at home. That's right.
No. Let's focus on what we're. Yeah, but the Republican Party, I am pleased with Serratino. He's done a lot. He's very genuine in my dealings with him. I would support him, but running him and Gene together, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you know what, though? A lot of people like Gene. They're very comfortable with Gene. Running him with Sorrentino, with his name as well known as he is, and everything else, that might actually be a very good winning ticket. So
I don't know if everybody's comfortable with Gene, because I've heard a lot of backlash, especially lately, because of the decisions that he made with Ed Smith. So I don't know if everybody's so comfortable with him as they once thought. And people are actually talking. If we're going to talk about it, even though Gene may be a friend of the show, if we're going to talk about it, we have to be honest. People are still talking about the fact that he said he wasn't going to run. People are still talking about the fact that he swore he would never do a Republican because of how they did and how he stands, and he has daughters, yet you're standing proud next to them like, hello, today I'm back. So what happened?
That's kind of politics, though. You have to get in those stupid photo ops and stuff.
No, but then
You never say never.
You never say never. You say everything else except for never. Right? Because if you say never, that means never. I mean, if you
trick word.
Yeah, you know, if you wake up in the morning like, oh, today's no longer never, I'm back. We don't know how to accept that. So I don't know. But Sarantino, you know, I like Sarantino. I like Sarantino a lot. Yeah, I don't know how he would be politically, because I haven't seen him politically, but as a person, as somebody who
he's been building his political currency for a while. Especially the turkey drives, the this, the that. He's been building that political currency. He's got the clout. I don't doubt it at all. And I don't think enough people turned on Gene to make it a difference to where they wouldn't want to support something like that. That's just my personal opinion. And like I said, anything can happen. It's still very early. We're still in winter. We really don't even go into full gone campaign season until right after the summer, when the fall festivals start. That's usually when the political scene really starts to pick up. People are off enjoying their summers after school is ended, and then boom, they start paying attention. So right now, this is really just the build up until that point.
I know Sarantino's been building himself in regards to making appearances and doing certain things, but I haven't heard him speak on any political issues yet. So I can't say just because you're doing certain things and you're running with a certain crowd. There's a number of people that post tons of pictures and they're always with this politician, that politician. I won't give them the time of day because I don't know what they're talking about when it comes to actual political issues. That's my thing. But as far as if, I had to make a choice, I probably would not vote for Gene, and I would definitely vote for Andre. Now, everybody's ignoring the big elephant in the room. Andre Sarantino versus Joan Sergel.
I know.
That, my friends, will be a true race. I don't care if you like her, you don't like her. That Andre Sarantino and Joan Sergel, now that will be a political.
That goes back to what I was saying about Gene. People are more comfortable with you have a lot more as an incumbent, as somebody who's already occupied the seat. You're actually harder to beat. So it comes down to who's going to get the amount of votes. So that's where it's going to come down to who gets what lines.
I mean, for me,
right, the lines.
The line.
Sitting in town hall and watching him have certain temper tantrums, I've seen the shift change with Gene. I've seen it. I've heard people talk about it. Me personally, I have my own reserved issues with that. But I've seen other people who I know who were diehard Cook fans. But then he starts having these temper tantrums. I've been in town hall when he does it, and they're like, he needs to go because you're not even behaving like a decent person, let alone a councilman. But again, it's still early. We'll see. But Andre Sarantino, I think, was an excellent choice. The Republican Party played an excellent hand because he's well-liked. Nobody cares about his color. Nobody cares about his gender. We just like him. We generally like him. Hopefully he has the same political ambitions and, he's on the same topics regarding the community that we are on, and then we'll be okay. He may revive that Republican Party. May. I don't know. It's a lot to work on. A lot.
I want to read you this text that I wrote today to someone about Andrew Rea, but I can't. There's too many dirty words in it. Yeah. So I just put my phone down.
Lisa, walk her off the ledge.
I'm going to get us kicked off of
off the ledge, Lisa, please. She's trying to get us canceled.
Yeah. Remember that it happened once that we got reported to YouTube. It was scary.
Walk her off the ledge, Lisa.
Okay, just okay. I'll walk myself right off the edge, and I will segue to 2 days ago when Chad Lupinacci put out a statement on the MS-13 gang issue that happened on January 9th. So 50 days later, we now have a
God.
statement in regards to the recent public safety concerns in Huntington Station. I'll give this a run through for you guys real quick. Ready?
Right.
Huntington Supervisor Chad Lupinacci has released a statement on recent public safety concerns in Huntington Station, 50 days after the fact. The town of Huntington is a beautiful, diverse town with quaint, historic downtown areas, award-winning schools, and world-class cultural attractions. Recent violent incidents, which occurred in different locations of a private parking lot in Huntington Station, have raised concerns about public safety in our town. The property on which these recent incidences occurred is privately owned. While the town does have an agreement with the property owner to enforce handicap parking in the lot, this is a law enforcement issue. The town has taken a proactive approach to address the public's concern after news broke of the first incident, which occurred January 9th, 2019. 50 days ago. In early February, my staff and I hosted a meeting with various law enforcement, school district, town, and Suffolk County officials to discuss how we can coordinate the sharing of information and services, integrate our video surveillance, monitoring capabilities with other camera networks, and expand or build out our existing video surveillance infrastructure. The primary purpose of the meeting was to identify how our respective levels of government can work together more effectively, also opening what will be an ongoing dialogue given the scope and nature of the challenges facing our town. In attendance were Inspector William Screama, the deputy, and I can never get his right, it's Sherma, and Deputy Inspector Matthew McCormick of the 2nd Precinct, Suffolk County Police Department, the town's Public Safety Department, Superintendent Jim Polanski of the Huntington School District, Superintendent Dr. Dave Bernardo of the South Huntington School District, and from Suffolk County Legislator Dr. William Spencer, Legislator Robert Trotta, Legislator Susan Berland, and Legislator Tom Donnelly. Topics discussed included the School Resource Officer Program, SRO, alleged gang-related activities, information and technology sharing, public perception of incidents, and other details related to the collaborative handling of the overarching public safety issues. Some of the topics discussed remain outside of the town's authority to address, such as law enforcement, concerns within the school districts, but the opened dialogue offered a productive sharing of ideas, in particular how the town can support law enforcement as the police department does its job. Lastly, thank God, I want to make clear that we're not going to rush to judgment on what was at the root of these recent violent incidences, but we're not going to condone any type of violence, intolerance, or criminal behavior in the town of Huntington. This is a wonderful place to live and raise a family, and I want to assure the entire community we serve that we are working together at all levels of government to keep it that way.
So who should go first? Because I have a lot to say about that. A whole lot.
Let me check with June and I'll get right back to you. You guys pick it up from here. Let me go see, make sure, go.
Now let me just say, for a very long time, I've been so confident in my school board of education. So overly. In fact, someone had to pull my coat on how confident I was, because I haven't attended some meetings and the person really brought a lot of things to my attention that I would have overlooked just because of my personal relationship or thought process on some of the people on there. With that being said, this school board election, I'll be in full force. I am rather disappointed in what I read in that article for many reasons. I remember Jim McGoldrick, he was the first one to talk about separating the school and the law, school and law. It's too much. It's too much going on, and they're only interjecting when they want to. Now, here's the biggest problem that I have. Like you said, that happened 50 days ago. He starts off the article with talking about the diversity of Huntington. Let's be clear. The only diversity we have is in the station, because if you go to Lloyd Harbor, Huntington Bay, all these other places, the diversity.
We did the demographics our first show. It was our first show back this season. We showed the demographics in the different districts as well.
So the diversity is out the door. And the fact that you want to put that in to look good, anybody can look on your roster and see how you have people who works for you, who doesn't work for you, how that works. You only hire minority women as secretarial aspects. So they can't do anything else but take your notes. That's it. So that's another. So stop with the diversity. Here's the real issue. How far removed are you from what's going on within the town that you govern, that you make a statement saying, we can't say this and we can't say that, but you have the police commissioner, Hart, saying that these were confirmed MS-13. You have Scrimmer, who is your inspector of the town you govern, confirming their MS-13. And then you have Cini, the DA, confirming that so how far removed are you that you're still saying you don't know the
alleged.
So you mean to tell me
ago,
all these levels of law enforcement are going on an alleged? Are you serious?
Well, that he still doesn't have all the facts. So where has he been?
So how don't you have the facts? Haven't said anything formally, and that, to truth be told, the only two people, and this is another reason why Gene does stay in my good grace, the only two people to write anything about that was from the town council was Gene Cook, and he was the first one. Say what you want, he does get on top of things in the community. And Joan Sergel wrote something to the Long Islander, but Gene was the first one to publish it. Gene was the first one. So those two are the only ones. The only time I saw the supervisor was when we had media coverage. So
that's true. You put that out there on social media, and that's where all the drama was happening.
In the midst of it. So, you know, you have to be fair when you're talking about, say what you want about Cook. He does get into the mix of things, right? So how does a supervisor who governs this town come and put out a whole statement that is not factual? How does that work? How do we allow that as the people who live in here? We can't make any definitions. You know, we can't. These are all alleged. So you mean to tell me the inspector, the police commissioner, and the district attorney, all law enforcement, is wrong? Now you're a lawyer. You know what's right. You know what's right and what's wrong. So all these three levels of law enforcement, you're telling me that they're all wrong, and they just didn't give you the information, or you haven't tuned into the information. Which one is it? Because the rest of us who live here, we know that they belong.
Who's in the shower?
I can't. Just can't.
For those who don't know, there was a big controversy regarding him redoing his shower in the supervisor's office.
She is out of.
Come on, it was the perfect place to put that joke.
I can't. Take her mic.
It was good. It was good.
Take her mic immediately.
You know, and another thing is that, you know, Huntington and South Huntington, they had both superintendents of each of those schools there. And one of the big things is, you know, South Huntington just doesn't want to admit that it also has a gang problem. And I just don't understand this. It's like a willful ignorance. It's something that is there. It's obvious. If you look at the demographics, South Huntington's right behind us with
2% behind you.
We share all the same issues. So if there's no gang problem in South Huntington, even though Inspector Sherma said all the schools have issues in them because he didn't really want to, you know, target two. The fact is Huntington and South Huntington they're probably holding about 98% of the burden of the gang activity in the town of Huntington. Correct, Dana?
This is what I'll say in regards to South Huntington. If you are under the assumption that's because it's a school district 3 and it's in the station, and school district 13 isn't in the station, if you think that it can't cross paths somehow, then you're foolish. That's number one. Number two, if you look at the demographics of who is shipped to 13, we have station kids that go to 13. Let's be honest. So for me, when you don't admit that we have an issue, that's the issue we have with school district 3. Polanski kept saying that there wasn't an issue. But when that article came out, you knew there was an issue 2 years ago because you did the article. Mm-hmm. So what our superintendent is looking like, claiming that we don't have any issues, you're coming off as another Polanski. Now, I don't know the significance of the issues in 13. I will be very honest with you. I'm not saying that they don't happen, but they do. But I don't know if it's the same amount, and I don't know how it's handled. But to say that we don't have it, and then you're called into a meeting, why would you be called? Why would you need to know if you don't have it? Are you, why would you? I'm not going to go to a meeting about, something I don't have anything to do with.
Right.
So I have an issue with anyone that doesn't want to admit that there's an issue. And that's where, and I remember Solange, when she was running, she had said quite a few things in regards to MS-13, and it was immediately shut down. She wasn't able to provide the information that was necessary. I can stand for that. But that doesn't mean that her information wasn't accurate. At the time, she just couldn't do it for whatever reason. But she did make a mention when she was running. So my thing is, I don't understand why we have to try to portray X, Y, and Z. Because if it happened there, I mean, it's a possibility it can happen here. That's just my take on it. And like I said, I am very disappointed in my district at this, especially after reading that. So I will be much more involved with the school board and the election process this year, probably more so than I've been in a very long time.
Dana, I got way too comfortable. Also, there were all sorts of things that happened and didn't know about them, and then found out about them, and it was just too late for my own situation that I've shared publicly to a certain degree with things that have happened with my own kids, with laws that came down. So I also became complacent, and I've been trying to step it up a notch. I was not able to make it to my last school board meeting, but we can watch them online.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, guys, get to your school board meetings.
Yeah.
We've got budget issues in this state, and they're hitting our schools. And it's an absolute mess. You're not going to believe the train wreck that's coming. You need to be prepared for it. The only way to prepare for it is get yourself educated and up to date. I'm not saying you're not educated. I'm saying get educated on what's going on right now, because the landscape has dramatically changed.
I'm not educated on, because I was very comfortable. I have to reacclimate myself.
But it changes.
Yeah. I have to reacclimate myself.
Right.
I'm fairly involved, but I was that comfortable. And then I heard some of these things. I had a lunch conversation. I had a luncheon with someone, and she's very active. And I was just like, wait, what? Who passed that? Who agreed to that? And she was like, you really need to come back, and you really need to get back involved, because you're missing a lot. And when she's telling me these things, I'm saying to myself, how could the people who I trust vote on that? So I said, instead of complaining, let me go back. Let me go see what's going on and get back involved, because I am uneducated right now. I'll be very honest with you. Mm-hmm. I became very comfortable, and, I trusted a lot.
I'm grateful for my school district for putting the meetings online for those who are unable to make it at that moment, at that time, so we can review them in our own time.
Yeah, you have a lot of things, but even so, I'll be honest, even though you could do that, I still was kind of like, yeah, well, as long as I know so-and-so is there, or this one is there, or that one's there, I really didn't care. It sounds horrible, because you work with these people, you assume that they're going to keep the same thought process because you've worked together for so many years.
And that's not the case. Like, even, oh goodness, it's only been a week. It's actually hasn't even been a week for us. We sat down and had a meeting with the inspector.
Oh,
right. Forgot about that.
And there was things there of information that we ascertained that he said he was fine with us sharing. And in the beginning, I think a lot of the major issues had stemmed from who exactly fired Officer Drew, and where did that first actionable cause come from? What was the driver behind the action? And Inspector made decision to move Officer Drew. He was very clear with that with us. And it was because he felt the situation at the school, as far as Officer Drew being welcome at the school. Oh, and for the record, I also spoke with Officer Drew. I'm just going to put it all on the table. At this point, I have spoken with every officer directly, where all this other information's been swimming around in a big pool of a mess of gossip. I spoke with them directly, got the information firsthand. I know and they knew that there was a possibility of, encouraged me to share this conversation because they want the truth out there. But the reason, the driver behind it was Xavier had asked for the discussion item to be put up about re-reviewing the SRO. But then to even put it further, someone who I actually really like, Jen Hebert, the president of our school district, made a comment about how she didn't feel comfortable with our SRO in any way, shape, or form, regardless of who it is, coming back without a signed
MOU.
Thank you, Dana. And it was that statement that stuck with him the most, because I said, even in the meeting, you realize we have a divided board. Not all of them feel that way. I'm sure if they would have voted, it would have gone very differently, but they never voted. And he said it didn't matter. That's what was on the record. That's what he was led to believe. No, they didn't vote. It was just a listening session. He felt he had to do at the time what he did based upon the actions of two people, Xavier Palacios and Jen Hebert. It's so disappointing because it could have, would have, should have, but here we are.
I think it's unfortunate. He also shared with us, which that was my main concern. He shared with us people who he thought spoke for particular parts of.
And kept saying the same names over and over again. It was like the same 3 or 4 names of people who contact him on a regular basis that he felt were leaders within the different demographics of the small groups within the town. Take that one, Dana.
And I was, and I let him talk. Right. And you can always tell when I have a question, because this is how I start moving differently. Like I get a little, so I let him explain to us what he heard, who said what. And I asked him flat out, well, who told you that this particular group speaks for this particular group? This particular group speaks for this particular group. And he said, if I'm correct, Huntington Matters has their forum, right? Then we have people like Jim McGoldrick who have their forum. Then we have the Reverends and Dee Thompson who speak for the African American community, and we have the Hispanic Task Force and Xavier Palacio who speaks for the Latino community.
And that group is divided as well. The Latino Task Force in the town of Huntington is divided because Xavier's trying to kick out the old guard who started and did everything. Like, he needs to be on every nonprofit in town that has anything to do with Hispanic heritage or anything in that way, shape, or form. Don't give it to anybody else.
But so when I asked him, well, who gave you that notion? And I said, I can't speak for everyone, but what I will say as an African American, professional woman, I can wholeheartedly tell you that the only reverend that would ever be able to speak for me, because I'm Catholic, BTW, would have been Reverend Artis, because he took his time. He spoke with me. We had multiple questions. We had multiple issues that we talked about together. He knew what I thought. I knew what he thought. And we both knew where we stood. Other than that, there's no reverend that could say anything for me, because not only haven't they had a conversation with me, they surely have never prayed for me and my family.
Well, I worked with one. He specifically said Dee Thompson was one of the people who's regularly that she speaks for the Black community from Dix Hill.
But he also said the reverends, and I said my grandmother passed, and I work with one of the reverends within the organization, and I work side by side. Never once said a prayer for my family in the passing of my grandmother, never even offered condolences, and allowed things to happen and never said anything. So you definitely would never speak for me. And in regards to Dee Thompson, she is a staple within the community. You have to give her that. And her name does hold somewhat of a weight, with the exception of the new administration, because they have no use for
No, she's old guard. No,
right. So they have no
she was Frank Petrone's token Black woman that he would put on every committee to be able to say, see, look, I'm representing some diversity here. That's what she represented.
And so to be fair, she has done a lot. She's put herself out there, but now it's time for someone else.
It is time for somebody else.
And
she did put herself out there, but she allowed herself to be used. And it was all stemming from the fact that her husband who was best friends with Charlie Gums. Okay. Her husband was a policeman. It was her husband who gave her political currency. And she took it and she allowed herself to be used as a pawn in a political game.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything to say about that, because that was way before my time. That was way before my time. I don't even know. What I'm saying is, now, where were all these people when the incident happened? We were at the meetings. We were there. Where were they? How do you get to come 50 days later and then speak for me? Where were you when the incident happened? Tracy was on board. We saw her. That's a different story. But where was everyone else?
I know my kid was walking home from school, and I have actual skin in the game with this.
Exactly.
Hills.
Oh, so how does that work? I do business over there.
They're looking for a way. How do we exploit this? How do we take this incident if it starts getting steam? How do we either use it to our advantage or stop it?
I had a real problem with that, and I just had to let him know, you might want to follow the new direction on that particular issue and stop referring to the old guard for everything. You take a little bit from that, you take a little bit from this, and then you come up with your own conclusion. But to rely on people that don't have children in the district, haven't been well-versed, don't know what's going on, can't tell you any facts that you haven't heard on TV, don't know about the video, nothing, I think that's poor judgment to accept that person's viewpoint on anything.
Well, no, I think as the inspector, and he made that point very well to us, and I thought I really respected his position. He'll talk to anybody. There's no person he won't seek. He won't turn away a meeting. And if you call him or you send him an email and you want to know, they're going to give you the best question. So he had said, I cannot control the information once I give it and it leaves this building.
But that's totally different than what I'm talking about, because he has to talk to everybody. He is very good with that.
Yes.
But you don't rely on people's information that don't have the information to give you that's accurate. You talk to whoever you want to, because like you said, he's an inspector. He can't say, I can't talk to you. But you shouldn't rely and base your statements off people that don't have actual skin in the game.
And she also didn't realize how his relationship with Huntington Matters had been being used and exploited to the degree that it had been. And I think I'm glad that we were able to open his eyes to the situation at hand.
He was one thing I do like about Sherman, excluding the fact that he's just so handsome. I don't care what none of y'all say. He's handsome. I just like his personality. He's very much open. He talks about a lot of things. And he's honest. He's like, listen, this is what I do. This is how I have. This is what I have to go through. And X, Y, and Z. And I have to please everybody. And when we were in the meeting, I said, I feel for you, because I don't know how to handle it to please everyone. And I'm sure, you have a lot coming, because it's the MS-13. So I know the Hispanic Task Force is coming at you. And I know that you're getting a lot of things. I don't know how you would handle it. But he seems to be doing it in the best way possible.
I have to say, yes, I'd say that I feel that he's doing a good job. He was very sweet too. He's like, I just don't know how to get more people down to the police meetings.
Right.
And there was a lot of good information that came from that for us, for him. So, hopefully he's going to take those ideas that we had and implement them from his own department.
I think he will. I think he was very open-minded.
Yeah. And he liked that about us. We didn't just come with problems. We came with actual solutions when we sat down with him.
Yeah, and his take on a lot of things was honest, in my opinion. And he didn't seem to be holding any punches. And what can you say to something like that? Just got to commend the man because he has a rough road ahead of him.
And he said to Tui, he didn't know what was going on online. I appreciate that. You shouldn't know. You should be solving homicides. You shouldn't be dealing with the gossip and the pettiness of the people who are trying to control other people online by using you and your position and exploiting it. So it was a good meeting overall, and I'm definitely glad we went. I am worried about our police, though. This article just went up tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get this one in because we only have 9 more minutes. MS-13. This came out tonight.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. MS-13 is threatening to hit Long Island police report. MS-13 gang members are targeting police in specific Long Island towns to amp up their street cred, report says. It's a great article. I don't want to take the time because we only have a few more minutes to go and read it. I also don't want to be somebody who just says, hey, read the headlines only. But this is all stemming from an article in the New York Post. And you'll be able to find this article here. This is when they put out the call to hit the police officers and obviously we have a problem here. So they're, so I am worried about our police. We definitely have the MS-13 gang problem that
God bless.
I
saw something on Channel 12 News today. And the Channel 12 News said that the MS-13 are selecting New York City officers that live in Long Island. Here's, I don't know what type of gangsters these people are, right? I'm used to gang members using codes, talking in silence, using things so that they can't be readily made. I don't know anyone who's put out a full-blown article about doing a crime and then they were successful. I mean, but maybe it hasn't happened in my time. So I don't really know what kind of gangsters do that. But when you do something like that, right? And now the police are on edge because of this particular threat. You can't cry racial profiling when they are guarded, because now there's a hit out on me, and it's put out from a Latino gang. So how can I do my job effectively, go home to my wife, my mom, my children, my family, and still protect everyone, not knowing if I pull up on this particular group of Latino individuals, if I'm going to make it home? How do I do my job effectively knowing that this is out there?
Exactly. Those individuals that feel racially profiled, they shouldn't be blaming the police officers. They should be blaming the thugs within their community. Those are the ones that should be blaming.
Let's be honest. If someone said, oh, I'm going to do whatever to every blonde I see, if you walk up on me and I don't know you, this is going to be a misunderstanding. I don't know, any other way. It's going to be a misunderstanding. I'm not going to welcome you with open arms, because at the end of the day, I need to make it home to my children.
Targeting specific groups for extermination is no different than when Hitler did it. It's just no different. You are targeting out a certain group of people for extermination. It is evil. It is wrong. And that problem needs to be ratified, and it needs to be, we need a clean sweep. We just need to get this problem out of our towns.
And here's another issue that I have. I know a lot of Latino children, teenagers, young adults that are good, hardworking, honest people. Don't have, will never hurt anybody. They may have some association because of family members and all that, but they get caught up in this sweep as well. And that's not fair.
No, it's not.
You know what I mean? That's not fair. But because of these type of things that are going on, everyone is thrown together. Because I know there's a lot of them that just really want to just do what's right, be productive, and go, just live a normal life.
And that's why they need to step up and say, listen, this problem's happening within our community. I'm now being stigmatized because of the actions of a few bad apples. You're rotting this entire bucket of apples that we have that has so much potential. And there's a small handful of us now that have to deal with the consequences for your actions, not ours, but yours. And then we're losing some kids that are getting caught up in this and maybe wrongfully deported. And that's an issue that needs to be dealt with. You guys need to sit and say, okay, how are we going to fix this problem? How are we going to eliminate the cancer that's plaguing our own demographic, which is causing us to in turn be profiled?
Exactly.
I would agree with that. I mean, it's so unfortunate when you see things like that. And let's be honest. Like, I mean, are all our officers great? No, we do have, but that's like everywhere. These people have families that they have to go home to. Why would you just target them just because they're police officers?
Our firefighters are awesome, but Mary Beth is still an arsonist. She was part of the fire, right?
Lisa, I can't.
One bad apple, that's all it takes.
Once an arsonist, always an arsonist.
Once an arsonist.
Lisa, take a mic, please.
Narcissistic arsonist. Say that 3 times fast. Narcissistic arsonist. Narcissistic arsonist.
Mary Beth.
No. But it's the same. Dina, you're right. You will have, all it takes is one bad apple.
Yeah.
So when people say, oh, you're a racist, for pointing out that there's a problem within the Hispanic community with gangs. Okay, I'm the racist. No, I'm the realist. You guys need to start pitching in here and helping us eradicate the problem so that you're no longer racially profiled for the situation.
That's just like, when we have the big crack epidemic, were you racist for saying that, the typical drug dealer was an African-American male? No. I mean, it's the reality. That's what it was.
The stigma Whitney Houston got for saying crack is whack. That statement stayed with her for how long after she said that? Because she was a Black woman with a Black man. And it was easy to put it. She was probably smoking crack too, but yeah.
That was another sad.
Yeah, that was yet another train wreck, which will be our third this evening in a full hour.
No more train wrecks for us. I have to give up. I can't control this. I cannot. No more train wrecks. We have to eliminate. We have to have safe words on this show. Train
wrecks? Are you kidding? Think about what we had on our list tonight that we really didn't even hit. And we've only got about 1 minute left on our show.
Well, thank God for that then, because then we'll get us in trouble.
But LIPA was up this week. You want to talk about train wrecks coming down the track. Flights, that full throttle. They were in court this week.
Do we have an update of what happened in court?
We do not have a resolution on this yet that has come out yet. So I'm anticipating they probably went to some sort of dialogue and they're still trying to work it out, but it's coming to a head soon. And that is probably one of the biggest train wrecks that will be hitting the town of Huntington. Well, that and our absolute shit water, and we're all going to die, but it doesn't matter. We're all going to die in 12 years anyways, right?
I told you that.
Yeah.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez.
Girl.
They call her AOC. She has children convinced that they need to be fighting for the Green New Deal, and they've been attacking Feinstein, and Feinstein attacked them back. But honestly, I don't know if you've seen this clip where these kids, these elementary age school kids, honestly believe that their world is going to end in 12 years.
Yeah.
She is so out there.
Yeah, she's ours. We own her.
She is so out there that I don't even entertain anything she says.
I find it all very entertaining. This is how different we are.
I'm just like,
one thing that I wrap my head around still to this day is she was elected.
I don't know. She wasn't elected. She was selected. We've been doing this long enough to know how the political parties in New York work. That's why
she was voted in.
She was not really voted in. Lisa, she ran against an old guy, white guy. When she won her primary, she won. She ran against one of the oldest Democrats, an old white Democrat in the state of New York, where identity politics is everything right now. He never showed up for a debate. It's like he tripped on his own feet on the way out, right? And then when the election came and she ran against the Republican, he didn't even have campaign fundraising. He was a paper candidate. She was selected to go into the seat by the party leaders. You know how it works.
I don't care how she got it there. She needs to get out.
Well, it matters.
She does.
That's not how we're going to do it.
She's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about free Medicare for what? What are you doing? What are you
How
doing?
about her Green New Deal that wants to bring every single building in the United States of America into compliance with her Green New Deal?
Oh, and who the hell are you?
But well, not only that, think about the expansion of government that this brings. Who's going to inspect all these buildings? Who's going to pay for the upgrade and cost? Then there's going to be a permitting process. The price tag I heard just this week is just to fund it for 3 years, $600,000 per household. You got a little over $500,000 laying around?
Let me check. No.
Yeah, you didn't even check that far.
And the cow farts.
No.
And the cow farts. What about the damn cows?
Yeah. Yeah, and she actually said people eating hamburgers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Who is eating hamburgers for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? We're a very socially conscious America now. We really are. If anything, you're seeing the only country that emissions have actually gone down is America. And we pulled out of the Paris Treaty and we still went down in emissions. But on that note, listen, we're already minutes over. I think we should probably add on one of our federal shows because we have so much going on. We really need to, because those issues clearly impact us on our level here, especially like with what's going on with the state budget, the budget at our schools, our towns are losing funding. We have so much coming down.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Whew. Well,
this was enlightening to say the least.
Yep. This was a good one. I enjoyed tonight.
It was.
Thank you, ladies, always for your time.
I did as well. It was very good.
Thank you.
So we missed about 12 items on our list, but we hope everyone enjoyed tonight's Huntington View. And we'll see everyone again next week. Same time, same channel, same girls. Have a good evening, everyone.
Bye, guys.